No intro, no catchphrase this time, guys. We're gonna jump right into my thoughts and analysis community. This has been something that I've been putting off for quite some time. The idea sort of arose with Tommy talking about how the fandom's affecting the show, or I believe it was the show affecting the fandom. Either way, it was something that he called like the problem with the analysis community. He saw what the problem was, and I wanted to make a video back then, but I thought, no, I think maybe now that he's made this video, things are going to change. Apparently not, because now it's gotten to the point where Mr. Tommy Oliver has left the community, followed by Drowning in Horseshoes, and before then DigiBrony. So yeah, the two big, well-known names of the community left. I think now's maybe a wake-up call for some people, because if there wasn't one before when Digi left, I think there should be one now. I think there should be something that we should talk about. So, to paraphrase Tommy Oliver's video, he does bring up some valid points. Initially, when I saw it, I was a little bit confused because I felt like he was talking shit about the analysis community. But if I watched it again and I understood some of the points. One of the points he said is that the analysis community is losing people who do actual analysis. And you know what? Yeah, I've noticed that. There's not really a lot of well-known reviewers other than, like, Digi and Tommy, because then you have, as I like to call it, the lower tier. You see, for a while, I've noticed that there are these tiers. There's the elitist tier, which has Digi, Tommy, T-Bap, Drowning in Horseshoes, KP, I guess if you want to say. That's the elitist tier. Then you got the middle tier, which has Silverquill, Dr. Wolf, and yeah, those are really the two big ones, and I think you have A and Y somewhere in there as well. You have a bunch of other people, and I think like names like Golden Fox, Voice of Reason, I don't know if I count in there, probably not. And then you have the lower tier, which is like everybody else, which is kind of unfortunate. But anyway, he pointed out that analysis is a dying art, or at least that's how I interpreted it. Analysis is a dying art. It's hard to do reviews these days because we have so many people. The whole fandom is freaking oversaturated, and I don't really like that. It sounds weird for me to say, but I don't like that. I don't like the fact that there's so many people now, because now it's really hard to be up there. It's hard for you to establish yourself. It's hard to get your name out there. It's hard to just talk about something without the fandom trying to jump on you. And Tommy's acknowledged that a lot of his fans have jumped on him because of his opinions on stuff. Like, it's hard to be It's hard to be negative on something without the whole, fan base jumping on you saying, how dare you say such a thing? This show is great. Don't ever talk about how this show isn't great. Well, reality check for you guys. The show is just a show. It is just like any other show that is on there. You have Steven Universe, you have Gravity Falls, you have My Little Pony. Same thing. They're all cartoon shows. And we're not even the main demographic for it. But we still talk about it because we feel we have something to say. Now, Tommy also talked about affirmation, and that's really the only way to, I guess, get your name out there, to get any form of traction, is to be positive. Okay, you can be positive. Good for you. Be positive as much as you want, but there's an opposite side to that as well. And I think this is something that a lot of people aren't really willing to do. Or at least when they try to, the fan base jumps on them and says, how dare you, yada, yada, yada. This is repeating the point that I made. And I've seen this with Golden Fox, and I've seen this with Voice of Reason, two of my closest friends. I've seen how incredibly stupid some of their fans are, and how they bash them, think that they're elitist, that they're circle jerking, that all they care about is such and such, and that how dare they have such a negative impact. Well, maybe there's another problem that we're not looking at, because I realize the analysis community is oversaturated. I realize that's probably the main problem that people seem to look at, but maybe the other problem isn't us. Maybe it's the fan base. Maybe it's the fact that all the fans really want is just positive things shoved down their throat. Maybe they would just prefer to hear good things. Now, I know from a psychological standpoint, we do prefer positive things. In this society, positivity is something that helps keep people rolling along. But there's also bad things. We cannot shy away from that. If an episode is bad, we're going to say it's bad. If fans want to jump on us and say, how dare you, you're wrong, this episode was great, MLP can do no harm, maybe you're the problem. Just saying. Now, we also do prefer controversy. I think some of us have stated negative opinions, and there's a lot of controversy behind that. But it gets people talking, nonetheless. And the ones that are the most popular have the most voices out there to, I guess, really explain, like, whether they liked or disliked an episode. And it seems like there's... How do I say it? It seems like there's some kind of restriction on whether or not we should be negative and that we should only be positive. Well, I don't think so. I think that we should be a little bit more open. So I've seen people talk about the analysis community and say that there's a problem with it. Well, why don't we do something to fix it? It would seem like a logical thing to do for us to try and fix it. So may I have a few suggestions? Here I am here I am in the study room, just raising my hand. Sir, I have a few solutions for this problem. So here's what I do. Number one, do not fear controversy. You should have your own valid opinions. Accept other people's views. Just because you think something is good, okay, you're not gonna please everybody. That's the big thing. Let me put it in bold letters here. You cannot please everybody. You are always going to have haters. You are always going to have people who are saying that you're wrong. Okay, you don't need those people. But at the same time, you kind of do need them because you need that yin-yang balance. There's always going to be that. You can't shy away from it as much as you want. The other thing, because the community is so oversaturated, it's hard to be, it's hard to be different. It's hard to find some variety. But I have seen some of the community try new things. I've seen reviewers step up with different styles. I've seen artists step up and do their own thing. I've seen people put genuine effort into their work with good editing, with good mics, and they have something to talk about, and they're entertaining. Now, Mr. Past Analysis, if I may bring you to the forefront for a minute, you believe that with the comedy in reviews is a not so good thing. Well, I disagree, because comedy in reviews should be a good 50-50 balance. It should be that people should get something out of it. If you're going to make a review, cool. Make a few jokes in there. Make people laugh. Make people remember that. Because if you're going to be straight 100% analysis, well, I'm sorry, but not a lot of people are going to find that very entertaining. You may be going for one specific crowd. Us reviewers have to broaden that. We have to find new ways to broaden to different audiences and all this other stuff. So different variations can work. And this one might be a little hard to accept. Number 3, don't be a sheep. Listen, when an episode comes out, a lot of people may share the same opinions. But if you have something different to add to that, please go ahead. If you're going to repeat the same thing that everyone else is, no one's going to watch you. And because there's so many people, some people are going to make that mistake. If you look at people like Josh and Dr. Wolf and Silverquill, they share a lot of opinions. They share a lot of jokes, but they find a way to mix it up and make it different. So that is a good thing. And now that I guess it also brings me, now that the tier, I guess, is gone, now exactly where does that leave the analysis community? Well, for one thing, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving this fandom because I want to see something good out of it. Where does it leave it now? Kind of knocked down. And it really sucks to see the community like this. When I first joined it way back, when I first joined the analysis community right around Season 4, I saw that there were some problems, and I didn't exactly know how to fix it. So I tried doing Brony Reviewing 101. I tried to teach people different things and try to maybe, I don't know, should I say fix or change? Either way, I was trying to do something like that for this community because I felt that I could do something. Now, at the end of the day, I'm probably not going to be the big one. I'm probably not going to be the one that takes the top spot or the throne, and I'm probably not going to. And I'm fine with that. At the end of the day, I don't want to be recognized for my sub count. I don't want to be recognized for all the collabs I've made. The one thing I just want to be recognized for is that I did something good to try and help this community. I don't want to be the guy who leaves. I want to be the one that stays here. And if I'm on a sinking ship that eventually is just going to explode or just sink all the way down and I'm going to drown with it, fine. You know, at least I can say that I stuck around and that I tried. Granted, the Brony fan base can be very stupid, but there are some good parts in it, and that's what I look at. I acknowledge the good, I acknowledge the bad. Maybe that's why I haven't gotten hate. Maybe I haven't done a really bad thing yet. But who should really step up? I think people like Josh and Dr. Wolf and Silverquill and Fox and Voice of Reason, hell, myself. I would even count myself in there simply because I guess I'm trying. But trust me, if you feel that I don't deserve it, then please tell me, because I'm not sure if I do. If I do, cool. If I don't, you know what? I'm going to keep trying. But at the end of the day, circling back to this, Tommy's left, and people are starting to leave because of how they view the fan base and how incredibly stupid people have gotten to choosing to accept the good over the bad. Well, here's a reality check. The show is flawed. It is always going to be flawed. It is not the most perfect show around. The sooner that you accept that, the sooner that you realize that this show is just any other show, better off you are. This whole negativity thing has got to stop. Because more people are going to start leaving. Oh, my favorites are going to leave. Get over it. This show is still changing. It is still going through stuff. And I still view it as a good show. Every good show has flaws. So does this fan base. So I'm just going to leave this with a question. If you made it all the way to the end of this, great. I'm glad that I was able to make some kind of point. So this begs the question, what should we do about this community then? Instead of leaving, instead of realizing that this thing is a sinking ship, what would you do? I'll leave it up to you for that. Think.